Today's video is going to cover every base route in Madden and what its primary purpose is for and what its secondary purpose is for. Okay, I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible. I've actually made this video 3 times, and I've had one that went 30-something minutes and 2 that went almost an hour. So I'm not going to show each route getting completed, okay? I'm just going to tell you. I think we've seen enough Madden, and I will probably play some clips of the routes getting open so that you can see. But we're just going to start with short routes, okay? Let's start with Jerry Rice, okay? He is on a zig route in this play. This play stock, and in the NFL, this would be a really good play. In Madden, we can make it better by doing this, right? And we're going to explain this. So this zig route by Jerry Rice, it's an out route that's very low. Okay, and it looks as if it could be a drag. It goes in and then it sharply cuts out. It is an excellent man beater, maybe the best man beater in Madden this year. Okay, what is its secondary purpose? Yes, to get open in the flat, to beat man, that's the primary purpose, but the secondary purpose is to literally take a flat zone. Okay, if they don't account for the flats, you can throw this route all day and just ride it to victory, right? But you need to make sure that you have flat routes to keep your opponents honest on defense, right? In this case, this zig is probably the best short route in Madden this year. So on this play, you can see what a great route that really is, right? You can also do an out route. That out route goes out a little bit deeper. It looks as if it could be a streak, and then it breaks sharply. It is not as powerful of a man beater as the zig route this year, but it will still get open against man. Okay, maybe not as consistently as the zig, but it will surprise you. Okay, and it also is there to either take a man defender or to pull a zone. If you look on the right, we have a flood concept. We have a streak. What's the streak's primary route? Excuse me, its primary purpose. Deep pass, right? That's all it is. It just goes downfield, straight downfield. We can do a fade. It's very similar. It goes out and it either streaks straight or it fades, depending on the fade route that you have in your playbook, right? So, and then what is its secondary purpose? It's a pull route. In Madden, most streaks, the secondary purpose actually becomes the primary purpose, right? If you look at this table route over here, where it's another short route, right? What does that table route do? Instead of an out route, it angles out and then it sharply cuts. It's almost impossible to cover with man, and it's even almost impossible to cover with a flat zone. It is just I believe it to be an OP route this year, right? Going back to Jerry Rice, you have an in route. It's the same thing as an out route, but it goes in. Similar to a drag. Right? It goes straight out, cuts straight in, about 5 yards. In this case, he's offset, so about 4 yards, 3.5 yards, right? So if we put him on a drag, it's the exact same route. It just goes slightly, in this case, slightly less deep, but it could be a zig, it could be a crosser, you don't know, and then it just goes straight into the drag. The drag is an OP route, and it always has been in football and in Madden. It's an almost guaranteed man beater, and it will pull zones. It will pull zones. If you'll notice, it'll pull a middle zone, right? Say that there's a vertical hook there. It will pull that zone, and it will pull zones, even mid zones, right? All the way to the left side of the field, right? The drag is an extremely powerful route in Madden. Right, in football in general, but in Madden. We're going to talk really quickly about flat routes. Flat route is another short route. And what a flat route can do is it can pull a zone as a secondary, right? A secondary purpose. So if that flat route pulls that zone, that will open up that space for Bo Jackson to get into. And if he doesn't, his primary purpose is to just be a release, right? To be a short pass, and those things can go for long distances. We just got 9 yards on a flat. So again, primary purposes for short routes, gain yards and to be an outlet, right? Secondary purpose is to make sure that you keep your opponents honest and you force them to either man a guy up or to have a flat zone, right? That takes one defender at least off of the field. And in this case, if they man up a guy and you take that defender, you can beat him with each one of these routes, right? Each one of these routes is very difficult to bag with man cover. Let's talk about the slant. Jerry Rice is on a slant. It looks like it could be a streak, it could be an in route, it could be an out route, but then it breaks and it breaks sharply, right? So it's a combination. It's like a short post route that goes all the way to the end of the field. And so it will take, it'll fry man coverage almost all of the time, right? But it will also cause high-low reads, right? If we combine that with a drag, we end up getting a high-low read toward the outer hash mark on the right side, right? And you'll notice in my last video, Henry was using slants to dominate his opponents. It is a slept-on route, but a slant is one of the oldest routes that has ever been in football. Its primary purpose is to torch man coverage, right? It torches man coverage most of the time, but it will also pull different types of zones when you combine it with other routes. Now let's talk about the curl route. The curl route is a very slept-on route in Madden. When you game plan defensively, how many times have you ever game planned for a curl, right? Think about it. Curl routes are underutilized by most players in Madden. I will see pros use them a lot. They will take up space. If zones are covering other guys, a lot of times you'll see these curl routes just be sitting wide open between 3 defenders. And all you have to do is just fire that ball in there and you can possession catch it if you want. It's a very safe route to throw. It's very hard to pick off curl routes. Conversely, we have a hitch route. What is it? It's a curl route, but it's short, right? If you want a short yardage play, this hitch route can really torch a defense. I know that it sounds ironic to say that a short route can torch a defense, but it's very difficult to account for these. If you do this twice, right, on both sides, man, that's hard, especially if you have other routes pulling zones, right? Something like that, right? It's very difficult to account for those routes. So, short yardage routes are very, very important. So let's look at this C route over here, okay? This C route is a very effective route in Madden 24. It has 3 basically parts to its route. A quick in cut, which could mean a drag, and then it goes straight as if it's a fade or a streak, and then it cuts sharply to the corner. It is very difficult to cover with man coverage here, okay, unless you have abilities. And it really can fry zones. It's a very effective route. So that's its primary purpose, is to get open, right? Fairly deep, but it's also a really great pull route. And frankly, it's kind of a safety valve. It's used in Madden this year a lot as a safety valve, okay? So you'll see how effective it is. And if you time it just right, you can just drop that ball right in there. Let's talk about corner routes now, okay? A corner route is just a post route, except it goes to the outside. A post goes to the inside, a corner goes to the outside. Not all corner routes are created equally, as you can see here, right? We have one corner route that is short, one corner route that goes deeper, and there are corner routes that go even deeper than this, okay? When you combine that with a pull route, like a streak, you're gonna pull a deep zone, giving yourself an excellent chance of getting that corner route open. It's football 101. If you want to account for corner routes, you have to do it specifically, especially with the way cloud flats play in Madden this year. So this is why corner routes have been the most popular route in Madden 24, period. Let's reverse this and let's go ahead and create a high-low concept over here. Similar to Durham, heck, we could even do something like this, right? Notice what a drag and a post can do. That post route, again, it's a corner route, but it goes to the inside instead of the outside, right? With a post route, its main purpose is obviously to get open deeper, right? It generally will fry man because it's so sharp biting, okay? Sometimes, especially with like bottlenecks or things like that, you know, universal coverage, whatever, sometimes, you know, cornerbacks will be able to cover that route. But it is a man-beating route. Combined with a drag and a pull route like this streak say, right? So if we go ahead and streak this, that's that post route. The user has to choose between the drag and the post, right? And you see it's perfect spacing on this play. You know, it's not the worst route combination on the planet, right? So, you know, post routes, not all post routes are created equal. So if you check out this play, right, we have a deeper post route, right? So we have a corner route that is going to pull a deep zone on the left side. We have a streak that is going to pull a deep zone up the middle and sort of to the right side, right? We're hoping that it pulls a middle zone if it's a cover 3, right? A middle third, you know, or inside third or whatever you want to call it. And you have this deep post that can be a one-play touchdown. And you can see how that post can just fry a cover 3. And if we had more time, that would have been a much easier pass. We could have even lobbed that pass if we had more time. So post routes, corner routes, streaks, there can all be one-play touchdowns or big plays, or they can be pull routes that pull zones. Now we're going to talk about crossing routes really quickly. Crossing routes are very similar to post routes, right? Look at these two. This is a deep cutting post route, and the crosser is a pretty deep crosser, right? They end up in basically the same area, right, on opposite sides of the field here. But if you'll notice, the crosser takes a little bit more of a circuitous route, right, versus going straight up and just cutting sharply upfield, right? Madden 21, crossers were super OP. So that's its primary purpose, is to get open. And if you'll notice, it takes the left side of the field, the middle side of the field, and the right side of the field. So if that's manned up, oftentimes crossers will beat man. Okay, sometimes they get bagged, but they can beat man very consistently. But what will they be doing to zones when they cross over? They take a lot more real estate to get to the same place, right? So they can really wreak havoc with different zones. So they can be excellent pull routes as well. Then we're going to talk about the out and up route. The out and up route, it's not used a lot in Madden. I remember back in Madden 18 with the single back deuce close is what it was. There was a one-play touchdown out of that formation with this out route. It's a very difficult route to cover man, okay? And if you have something that pulls a deep zone, if they have deep help, that route can really fry man because it goes out straight, looks like it's going to be an out route, and then it goes straight up. Man coverage has a hard time with this, okay? It's not used a lot in Madden 24 because it does take a long time to develop. You can sort of hit a quick seam if it's open before it cuts. But generally speaking, there's so much pressure in Madden this year, it's hard to get that route open. It just is. So, but it can be an effective route. So what's its secondary purpose? Again, every route has a secondary purpose to pull zones, right? It can really confuse people. If you couple that, like let's say we do, let's go ahead and do a quick hitch here, right? So the idea here is that Jerry Rice's route, that in and out, is going to force a choice for that slot cornerback and that outside cornerback, right? Now, for R1, we have a wheel route, right? And that wheel route is something that is really a powerful route. It is an excellent man beater. Okay, so this is the Durham play. So we're going to basically combine a lot of these routes here. We're going to take R1 and we're going to put him on a post. We're going to take the tight end and put him on a drag. And then we're going to take this running back and we're going to put him on a wheel. Okay, now this route to the outside, this is a sort of flat route that turns into a streak. So it has its primary purpose is obviously to get open in the flats and then to get open deep. And its primary purpose or its secondary purpose is to pull zones, right? That is a route that can pull all different types of zones depending on where it is on the field. So when we go ahead and launch this, it's wide open, we take it right away, and we just got 15 yards. That's how powerful of a route that is, okay? So we set the play up again, and we have now our running back. If that outside route pulls the zone, that running back should be open. And you can see there's a tight window because of the coverage, but we were still able to get that in there because the outside route pulled that route, okay? That wheel route is super powerful, you guys. You've seen it in other videos I've made. If it's man coverage, that thing can get open for a bomb easy. Same thing with that outside route, okay? Now let's talk about the routes coming out of the backfield. So we have the possibility of a streak, and you can see what a streak does with that running back. Let's go ahead and set this play up the way we would set this up. This is that perfect route combination. That streak is very similar to the wheel route. It's just that it comes up at a quicker angle and it bites forward. It is an extremely dangerous route. You can hit it short, like that, or you can let that route go to its fruition and it can torch. It will torch man. It will help you up the middle. It is just an excellent, very powerful route. And that's why it's part of this route combination that is so devastating in Madden. A very difficult route combination to guard, right? So what other routes do we have with the running back? We did the table route. Let's go ahead and do a swing route, okay? So these swing routes, basically the running back kind of goes a little backward and then swings around. And when you hit them, they gather momentum, right? I threw that a little too early, but they'll gather momentum and they'll basically just shoot up the field, right? And check and release. Check and release. This route is unique. It's unique to basically running backs and tight ends, essentially, right? But these checks and releases, at the beginning of the year, I watched a video, a guy did a breakdown of this. Check and release will actually block better than if you keep your halfback in the block, okay? I know that sounds counterintuitive, but that's literally the way it is. So in this case, he's gonna chip at that blitzer, hopefully, and then he's gonna go out on his route. You see that delay and see what that did to the defense? The zones had already been taken up and he was wide open. Now we can do a block and release hook, except it's now going to be a hook. So with the tight end, you have this basically block and release streak, right? Or fade in this case, right? So he'll block, he'll hesitate for a little while, and then he'll go out on his route. And it can really mess up a defense because by the time he goes out on that delay, the zones have already sort of picked their targets. So you can get big gains with this at times. You have a block and release to the flat, right? And you have a block and release cross, right? It's basically a drag, right? And that drag can really, we'll go ahead and run this one. You'll see, creates a little bit of extra space. And again, it's a drag, so it's a man beater, right? So those are a lot of your check and release options with the tight end. And now we get to two different routes. Ghost route, okay? That ghost route is a route that It's not utilized a lot this year in Madden, but it can be very effective because that running back just goes out and he's very hard to notice.
Let's go now.
Right? But if we set this play up the way we normally would, right? Watch what this route kind of does. Just sits there. It's like a hook to the outside. It's very difficult to notice, and it's difficult to game plan for. Okay? All of these short routes have different purposes, right? The primary purpose are basically coming out of the backfield, right? Whether it's deep, mid, or short. The secondary purpose is essentially going to be the same as the primary purpose. It's a check down, right? The primary purpose is more aggressive. Check down is more, hey, I'm going to be in trouble here, right? That's why we do something like this, right? Where we put him out on that table route. All those other zones get pulled, and we've got that nice table route, and we just got, what, 10, 15 yards, something like that, right? So we've gone over all of these different things, right? All of these different routes. There really aren't too many more routes to go over, but there are a couple, and I'm going to show some to you. So we're going to talk about the Texas route. The tight end here, Bo Jackson, is out on a Texas route, right? So basically it goes out as if it's going to be an out route, and then it sharply cuts inside, and it causes problems because the user has probably already accounted for it himself in the middle of the field by the time that Texas route gets out there. Look at that. Look at that game, right? He had to, if we look at this, he had to go for, this is how we had the play set up. The user, the middle linebacker, had to choose, and he bit toward the drag, which left our Texas route wide open. And the nice thing about Texas routes is you can do them primarily out of the backfield. So not only are backfield routes hard to cover, but there's a lot of, you'll see that running back going out. You can't really tell, is he going to block? Is he going out on a route? Is it going to be a table route? And then boom, he sharply cuts in, and it creates havoc for the defense. This has been a popular route in Madden for years, and this year it's no disappointment. It's just as effective as it's ever been. Really quickly, before we end the video, I want to talk about smart routing. Watch this corner route from Bo Jackson here on the right side. Okay, we're in the red zone here. You can see how it's going to break a little too deep in the end zone. If we go ahead and press R1 and smart route him, notice how it changes the angle of that route, right? This is something where when you have, say, a 3rd and 7 or a 3rd and 15, and you smart route, the routes will adjust based on the sticks or the goal line, right? So I don't know if triangle will do it, but yeah, you see how the route bites quicker, right? That's a tip with routes, right? In college football, you're going to be able to take those routes and extend them 5 to 10 to 15, 20 yards, whatever. This is kind of our way of doing it in Madden right now, is by smart routing. So if we reset the play, notice the difference in depth of X. Notice the difference in depth with triangle, right? Moss and Jackson are now on shorter biting routes, right? So that's just a quick tip. Now, we're going to end out this video. We're going to talk about unique routes, okay? These aren't routes that you can hot route, okay? So check out this route here, okay? This route to the right, Jerry Rice's route. This is a sharp cutting out route. In different versions of Madden, this has been an OP route at times. This year, it's pretty good. Madden 18, they nerfed it. They made it go out to be almost like 10 yards. It was not a short yardage route. Madden 16, it was my go-to route. But if you'll notice, it's a sharp breaking route. He goes straight out and then he cuts to the sidelines. It's a pretty good man beater, and it really does a pretty good job against zones. Okay, now if you don't have gift wrapped, as a quick tip on a route like this, don't lead past it. For some reason, there's a little glitch this year. It has problems. I'm lead passing it here now. I'm not going to lead pass it. And you get it. You will sometimes, if you don't have gift wrapped or a really good quarterback, for some reason in Madden this year, it just doesn't hit. But with gift wrapped, you'll hit it every single time, right? That's a unique route. It's only in a few formations. It's in I form close, maybe a couple of others, but it is a unique route. And this is why certain, and this is sort of how I want to end out this video. Let's go to bunch strong offset and let's look at the flood play. Okay, that play right there, it's an excellent play. It looks so simple, like a simple flood. You've got a flat, you've got a corner, you've got a streak, and you've got sort of a an in route, a dig or whatever. We're going to put it on a drag here, right? But look at that streak. It's a streak fade. Notice it's inside. It's between the numbers and the hashes. It will pull every deep type of zone that there is in existence. Okay, like that's why that unique route has made. That's really, if you really look at it, why bunch strong offset has been such a dominant formation from the beginning of the year. It's because of the existence of this play and this unique route. That fade will get this tight end corner open. And notice, this is a very deep corner. Just wide open, wide open. It's because of the unique route. So I'm just going to show you a few unique routes, and I'm just going to do this sort of randomly. Let's go into trips here. Okay, what do we got here? We've got a unique post on X under, right? You see, you've got two corners, but you've got that unique post, right? It's not a streak, it's not a fade, it's not a crosser. It's a less than sharp biting post. It's a unique route. Go over to PA crossers. You have the exact same route in the middle there. And then look at this crosser, right? That's a sharp biting crosser. And it covers a different level of the field than a lot of crossing routes. Look at the way that thing angles. If we do something like streak, our tight end, right? This used to be an extremely powerful, well, it is still an extremely powerful route combination, right? But you'll notice that crosser, it's a deep crosser, and it will torch man, but it also gives zones fits. Look at this route in flood. Look at the route of the tight end. He goes out as if he's going to go on a corner route. He bites, he cuts, and then he cuts again and goes inside, right? It's an interesting post, isn't it? It's a fake corner post. It's unique to certain formations, right? If we go in bunch here, look at this route over here in speed dig. Look at this in route. This is why this play has been effective this year, right? Because it goes out at an angle as if it's a fade, and then it cuts in, right? Very deep. And if you can get that open, it'll get open a lot of times. It really will. It's a unique route. So, continuing on with unique routes, PA seams. We've got this unique sharp cutting out route again, and we have this sort of circular streak route by the tight end, and we have a very similar route as in Durham, right? With this streak on the outside. It goes out and then it goes up. You can hit it quickly out and you can hit it up, and it helps it to beat man. This is why formations are overpowered sometimes. In bunch strong, we have so many unique routes. Okay, look at the unique routes just in the spacing, right? And this is a play that is slept on a lot, right? These unique routes. Look at this one in dagger, right? The tight end goes out, he goes straight up, and then he cuts sharply in, right? Which is just a little bit different than the route that we had just discussed, right? They're all over the place. Okay, look at bunch. We've got a sort of drag crosser, we've got a really circular crosser, and we've got a really, really deep post, right? And that's why PA boot over at times in different Maddens has been the most OP play in the game, right? There are unique routes everywhere. Look at this unique route in PA read here in double flex, right? That's a very unique route. It's a twice cutting post route, right? So, what I'm saying is when you find a formation, okay, look for the unique routes. When Madden 25 comes out, look for formations that have unique routes that you can build around, that create good spacing. Routes' primary purposes are to get open, to get completions, and to get yardage. We all know that. But each route has a different secondary purpose. And on different plays, that secondary purpose can become the primary purpose. And that's why doing a video on these route combinations is, I think, so important. Because if you don't understand what the routes are, if you just load up a YouTube video and just follow what the guy says, you don't know what's going on. You're not going to be able to adjust. If somebody knows how to stop that, you're kind of screwed. But if you understand routes and what their primary purposes are and their secondary purposes are, you can create unique route combinations on the fly that create really good spacing, and they stress or they tax the user and they tax the zones or the spacing of the user's defense. Okay? So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. Be on the lookout for the next video. Thank you so much for the support, you guys. I've gotten so many subscribers recently. I literally just can't thank you enough. As always, have a great day.